When we talk about a problem statement in an experiment, that problem statement in the scientific method always has to be in the form of a question, because that is the question that you will try to answer by carrying out your experiment. Okay, you will be given a situation tomorrow. You will have to solve a problem and come up with an answer based on your experimental results. So a hypothesis has to be in an if-then because format. You cannot use personal pronouns anywhere in the lab write-up. Even the conclusion if you can, okay? And your hypothesis has to make a prediction of the situation at hand. It can't be really vague. You gotta decide on something. And it's A-okay if you make a mistake. A hypothesis can be wrong. They often are. My hypothesis for my master's thesis was wrong. And I didn't lose any marks because I explained why it was wrong later on. Okay? Next comes the actual experiment, okay? And that, while you're doing your experiment and carrying out your little whatever tests and measurements you have to do, you're going to compile a list of materials that you've used. Okay, if you didn't use it, you don't write it. If you used it, you write it. It's that simple. Now, when we talk about our procedure, a procedure is a step-by-step numbered list of things that if I gave my procedure to Kendall, Kendall would be able to follow it step by step and she would be able to get the exact same results I got. Okay? So in this, no personal pronouns. You can't say, first I did this, then I did that. No, it's do this, do that. Okay? Take 5 drops of, if we're talking about the procedure that you did for your pH, take 5 drops of lemon juice and with a pipette and pour it into well number 1 of the spot tray. No personal pronouns. It's called speaking in an authoritative voice. You're giving orders to people. Okay? In the procedure, you do not write results. Okay? You don't write any little results where you write your procedure. This is just telling you writing down what you did to get your results. So when we talk about our results, this is where, for the pH lab, this is where you had your little pieces of paper, right? Your little dipstick paper, your indicators. Those are results, and you analyze those. Now, when you make a table, some of you wrote stays red, turns blue. Just write the color that it is, red, blue. Okay, don't sit there and write me a paragraph in one of these little boxes in the table. That's a waste of your time and a waste of mine. Okay, be as specific as possible. No analysis goes into a table. And what I mean by that, in the case of your pH lab, if you determine the pH, there was a column there for the actual pH, and you wrote the color and the number that was associated with. And some of you wrote that was acid or base or neutral also. That is analysis of your results. That does not go in your results. You will lose marks if you put analysis in the results section. The results is simply telling you what you get. It's not explaining what that means. Okay? When we talk about the analysis section of a lab write-up, you can go get it. We're talking about explaining our results. Okay, saying, well, the pH of 5, well, that's an acid because anything lower than a 7 is an acidic substance. Okay, and one of the characteristics of an acid is that it's sour. And if you drink lemon juice, it's sour. Okay, so here's where you explain, and this is where you're going to answer your problem statement question. This is where you're going to say, like, if I, which type of fertilizer was the best for the plants? Well, the best fertilizer, according to the results, was fertilizer A. All right? And then finally, last thing and we're done. So the final step to the scientific method is your conclusion. And your conclusion should be a summary of what you actually found. So it starts off with a reinstatement of the aim of your experiment. This experiment was, devised to compare indicators and identify the pH of different substances. Okay? Then you talk about accepting or rejecting your hypothesis. If your hypothesis was wrong, you reject it and you say why. This is why you don't lose any marks for a wrong prediction. Because you're correcting yourself here. So you're right. Okay? And then finally, you must come up with an improvement. That is your scientific method.